would like to present today a little wet felting tutorial. And it's so simple, and I'm so excited about it because it's so simple, but then you can take it in a lot of different directions. We're going to show two of those, two of those directions. One is pumpkins. This is like the first little one that I made. And I made one of these, oh, I should go get it. The very first time I wet felted with my friends, Lee, felting farmer lady Lee, and Joyce, who is Gypsy Heart Arts, we made a little vessel. And I filled it with rice, and when it dried, I tied it off with yarn, and it dried into the shape of a pumpkin. So I haven't done it since then, but sort of just revisiting it because we're getting a lot of new sort of fibers and fun silks and things that are great for wet felting. Then the other project that I'm going to show, oh, thank you, Jennifer. This is the little, you probably can't even see it that far away, but that's the little pumpkin I made, I don't know, 4 years ago. The other thing that I'm going to show is how to take the same, using the same resist, and go more round in what I've envisioned was sort of snowballs to make snowmen. So just hollow vessels and then combining it with some needle felting to make something that looks like this. There's so many things that you can do with just this simple technique. I've seen people put these onto string lights, not necessarily a snowball specifically, but flowers or whatever on string lights. This one's like still hollow right now. I can picture the little ones on the Thanksgiving table with either the place card holder or the napkin in them. This one I stuffed. It's not totally stuffed yet, but so this one, it has its filling, and we wet felted some stems, which you could use the wet felted flower tutorial. Really, I just laid out a star and then at the end pulled it up in the middle and wet felted this stem part together, leaving the leaves. So, some of the items that we're going to use today for the snowman, I'm using just merino. I'm not using any pre-felt. Just the natural merino. I like having some silk and I like having some sparkle, so I'm going to use the Aurora Angelina. Sometimes in our Fiber Fairies we've had Firestar also, that could work. And then I like the silk hanky because it gives it a little bit of a regularity and texture thrown on there. And then for the pumpkins, there's so many color possibilities. Talbot made this one. It's pretty much kind of gray-green. We've gone blue, we've gone orange. Kyla made this one that has purple. It's mostly gray, but it has some purple and gold in it. So you're looking at the merino colors. Any of the house carded bats can work because they have a lot of merino in them. This is the pumpkin series specifically. And then silk. Right now, the silk hankies we just have in white, but we also have the honey Tessa silk, which is a golden color, and that can be really fun. And in the future, if you're watching this video in 2020, it won't be that long, but at some point in the future we are going to carry dyed silks in all different colors. So it's like a plethora of options, and so that's also what makes this project really fun. So we will get started. We need a wet felting kit. If you don't have a wet felting kit and you're just doing a pumpkin, you can use some bubble wrap. I'm going to show the pumpkin and the snowman at the same time, so I'm using the full-size wet felting kit you'll see when we move over there. And the resist is a simple circle. I like to use this shelf liner. I got this at Home Depot. It's just a vinyl-y, about 1/8 of an inch thick black shelf liner. So for the snowman, I did 6-inch, 5-inch, and 4-inch, and that was this size. This one was a little bigger. And for the pumpkins, this size, anything between 8 and 10 inches is good. You can go bigger, you can go smaller. So just a bunch of circles. Ready, Milo? I didn't give you a chance to talk.
I don't have much to say.
Okay. All right, we'll get started. Ready, Sketty?
We are ready.
All right. We are going to lay out a pumpkin and snowman. So I'm going to use some merino. And the first side is the bottom.
Okay.
Okay. So this does not have to be like super, I go outside in. And what I'm thinking about is that everything that goes off the edge is going to fold around over to the other side. And when you pull fiber off, the side that you hold is going to be more blunt than the side that pulls out of the strip of roving. So I'm going to fan that out. I'm going to put that fringy side out. So that means when I get over here, I've got to go this way, which I didn't do on the first few that I pulled. You could do any color. But you want these to be almost like just nice broad paint strokes, not clumps, not stripy. And then I'm going to do an interior circle, overlapping. I am going to, you know what I didn't get was the water and the...
Oh.
Yeah. I'm like in denial that I'm wet felting. Okay. Now I decided I wanted my pumpkin. It's a little thin over here, so I'm going to put a little bit more. And I see a bald spot right there. Okay. And I decided that I wanted my pumpkin to kind of go from this darker gray-green to blue. I know. So I'm going to pull off a strip of this. It's easier to pull than trying to pull from the great big bat. So this time I'm going to turn it this way because I want it to fade to gray in the center, which it doesn't totally matter because you're not really going to see the bottom of the pumpkin very often unless your kids decide to throw it around the room. Or your cat. And then I want it to switch from this darker green to the silvery blue.
Is that Blue Moon? A version of?
It's a version of it. It might be it. Exactly. So because this is the area of a color change, I'm letting the more fringy edge go inward to make a more smooth color change. And everything that sticks off over the resist is going to get folded over.
So you won't really see a whole lot of green or gray on this at all.
No, I kind of just wanted that merino base because I know it felt so well. And I could go back and put a little bit of gray here if I really wanted it to show. But it doesn't need to. Okay, so I'm going to pull this aside because I'm going to lay out the snowman now. But basically, for something that's in between 4 and 8 inches, like I'm going to call that 2.5 layers of wool. It doesn't have to have a crazy thick structure. If you're making a vessel that you plan on not stuffing, you might want to go a little bit thicker. Or if you're making something a little bit bigger, you might want to go a little bit thicker. So on all 3 snowmen poofs, I'm going to use this, our natural merino. And I'm not going to worry too much about the underside having sparkle or silk because these are so small that when I lay out the other side, it's almost going to fold all the way over. So I'm really just going to do
a merino layer here. Oops, I went the wrong way with that one.
So I could get you water, but it might be a little noisy on camera. Do you?
Okay, no, we'll just wait
Okay.
1 second and then, so I don't even need to lay all these out. So that's the middle one, and I'll just show like how much overlap there is. I want it to be pretty centered and even. And I'll just do the big one, and then, I don't think we need to do all three of these. This one, the middle one and the small one, you're really going to only have one go round of merino. But this is the 6-inch piece. So we have 4, 5, and 6 inches for these snowmen. So this one will have two rounds. So that was one. And this is 2. Okay. Whenever you see like a thin or bald spot, just add another thin layer. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and do it now.
So you're making snowmen or snow ladies?
Snow people. Making snowmen.
Do you know what do you call a snow lady?
No, tell me.
Snowman.
Snowman, that's awesome.
All right.
So I have the our wet felting kit, which is the bubble wrap, wall, and a pool noodle. This is warmish water. It doesn't have to be super hot because when we get to the other side, I'm using silk, and I just don't want it to felt. I just want it to felt a little more on the slow side. And then we have our sprinkler. So we're just going to wet everything down. My water has some soap in it, a little bit of liquid soap, a little bit of Dawn. But then I'm going to finish it out with the olive oil soap. This one's the unscented one. So I'm going to get my hands nice and soapy and start to see if I need more water, but I don't think I do. And on this side, I'm really just trying to get everything to come together a little bit. It's basically so that I can flip it over and have fun on the other side. These are all our vessel bottoms.
So do you avoid the outside edges so they stay fringy or not?
Not necessarily. I don't concentrate on them. And don't be alarmed when you wet this down that especially if your resist is black, that you're going to see it through the wool a little bit. Like as the wool gets wet. Can you see that? Is that on camera?
It's not quite on camera, but
I probably don't have really anything on camera.
you can see it now.
So I'm just using gentle amount of pressure to start because I just don't want to rub too hard, too fast.
Yep, you can see the resist for sure.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Just
You're getting a lot done at one time.
I know.
That's like 2 projects.
I'm going to use some things that we don't currently have in stock because I know that we will,
Okay.
and that this video will be out there for a long time. But definitely mainly what we're using we carry. I just wanted to show what some further possibilities would be. Okay. So I would also want to lift my wall, and you have to tease away those fibers on the edge. because you want to make sure that nothing is sticking to it. But I'm in good shape, and I'm actually going to go ahead and flip these over. See, that wanted to stick in there. And then just like a little go around and try to make a little kind of even pleats. Can you see that? Is that on camera?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's not even super wet, really.
It's not even super wet. It would actually be easier if it were a little more wet. But it's gonna go. Okay.
Do you need a little towel?
Towel would be good.
Okay.
Thank you.
There you go.
I'm getting other. Do. So I'm gonna try to get this like kind of tight up against the edge of the resist so that I know there's not the chance of the fiber felting to itself and making like a lip. So I'm kind of working it in so that it's nice and tight against the edge. And then I'm going to lay out, I need to dry my hands, and I'm going to lay out, I'll start with the pumpkin and get it nice and centered. Thank you. Then I'm going to lay out what will be the top. Alright, so I'm going to use this blue. And I'm going to go nice and whoop. Good overlap on the
You can
edge.
scoot up even a little.
Up here a little?
Yep.
Okay, how's that?
Good.
Excellent. I love these blue pumpkins. Get one every year. I tried to paint my dining room this color, but I didn't get it right, you know, it just was, oops, sort of lost, a little spacey today. It's like it's because it's a multitude of colors, really. It's hard to make this into one color, this blue, gray, green color.
Right. So for paint.
For paint,
Yeah.
it's like nothing was quite right. Or at least I didn't get it. I just didn't get it right. Neps are really fun to use on here. It makes it look a little bit kind of bumpy, gourdy, so that's kind of a fun way to go. And what I learned during the Doodlebug tutorial from Erin Butler is that silk can actually help hold on the neps and kind of get down in there really. And so we were, yeah, and we were using silk on top without any additional wool over it, and it was grabbing. So I've heard conflicting things about how to get silk incorporated. I'm concentrating them towards the top.
That right there is barking. Yep. No.
I'm just gonna have to cut that out. Think they're gonna stop?
I don't know. Fanny, come here. That's a good question. Are they gonna stop?
This is a little bit of a silk yak blend,
Oh.
but any silk on here would be cool. I like it's a little shiny. It gives it a little different texture. What were we playing with? Oh, the dyed fire star. That's a fun. So many things happening. Forthcoming. Is that the right word? Soon to be. I did not use the right word. What else? Orange? Purple? A little bit of orange.
Orange could be cool. So the silk looks better not all kind of stripy
Yeah,
in a line.
this particular silk is real strong and long. So it's hard to get it not in a line, but I'm trying to kind of mess it up a little bit.
Oh, that looks cool.
What does?
Just that little pop of color.
Good.
If your
What?
hands are wet or at all dry, you're your host.
Or if there's a fan on. I feel like wet felting is like kind of like watercolors. Like it's a little bit of planning and a little bit of happy accidents, and you kind of get to drop different random colors in there. Okay, so this can be anything. It can be plain orange. It can be white. It can be. It can have neps, no neps. You know. Silk, no silk. We've done
show any
lots
of
of
these
different,
kind of up close
different
they
things.
probably
Sure,
weren't so easy
sure.
to
This
see.
was an orange with some gold silk and neps. This one I did not band with the yarn, and so it's just kind of this more natural gourd shape. It's got its own pucker, and I still might stuff it. This one, Kyla made with a pretty gray bat. This one actually has a silk hanky on it and some neps. Yeah, this one. Oh my gosh, I don't remember what I did here. Mostly white with some orange and gray neps.
There's that stem with the hanky.
Oh yeah. That has a silk hanky in it.
And that one.
Talbot made that one.
Just to give people color ideas.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, on the snowman, I'm gonna do my merino. My own screen.
You're a little better there.
Okay.
So this will be times 3.
This will be times 3. Yeah, this I'm gonna work on the big one. This is the biggest piece.
Is this our natural merino?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty bright white.
Mm-hmm. It's good for this. Okay. It's about 2 layers. And then I'm going to do a silk hanky. This is going to be a little interesting to watch because they're always a little bit tricky. I'm just trying to pull off like sort of the thinnest layer that I can. And then once I have that, I'm going to try and stretch it out. And I don't care because this is all white. I don't mind so much if there's a thicker edge. But all of that is going to really get wrapped around to the other side, to the underside. And then I think I'll put a little bit of, I have the Aurora Angelina. Just a little bit of that. And then I'm going to take a tiny, tiny bit of Serafina White. Or actually, I guess I can just use the, sorry, that was my, this is the same merino. So I'm just going to put a little bit of merino over the Angelina and silk. Like super spider web thin. I keep taking it off. Something is snagging on my hand.
It's that silk, which is like
Yeah.
a spider web.
Okay. So I'm going to do that to all three. The same treatment to all three. All right. I got all 4 pieces laid out here. We don't necessarily have to show all of my handiwork, all of my smooshing.
Makes for a longer tutorial.
But we need to show, yeah, how to get this started and then flipping it over again. I like to take some of the water and drip it over the soap to get some more soap on there. I don't know where the right thing to
You
wet
know, your
felt.
sleeves are definitely just pooled.
Yeah,
They're wet.
yeah.
I think I might do it through the mail truck, so it's very possible the dogs are going to bark again.
Yeah, that's okay. You just pause it.
I
Just
often
feeling
leave
it.
a little bit of the
To see if
barking for fun. The dogs out in YouTube land seem to like it.
yeah, sure. I'm sure that the people with babies
Yeah.
who are like finally getting to sit down and needle felt because their little ones taking a nap really appreciate the dog barking. So this I want to do to the same degree that I did the first side because I want to get this started so that I can flip it over and bring my fringe around. So it's a minute on each one.
Again, you want to get the outside fringe wet, but don't super work it because you don't want it all
Felted, right?
felted. You want it to felt to the other side. You've been doing a lot of wet felting lately.
I have. I'm really enjoying mixing it with the needle felting and like wet felting pelts and this was fun too. So like I love the way this snowman turned out, and it's not. I feel like it's a nice break from needle felting to do this technique. Gotta find your fringy edges. It's hard with the white on white. Okay. I'm gonna flip everything over and bring those edges in. And it's like a little pastry. And so now you have, a little bit of pleating, but now it's back on the underside, and it really does go away. It's pretty amazing how it just goes away. But if there is anything left, it will be underneath. So Oops, I got some green in there.
It's like when the snowman starts melting a little, you start seeing the grass.
All right.
So if people are really new to wet felting, is there anything like things to beware of, or
Right.
kind of don't probably use
You want
fiber than
everything.
you think, or
No, I don't. No,
Well, you just don't want
because
really
then you can
chunky.
get thin spots
Okay.
that don't have enough. I think just enough water for it to be wet. Like you don't want puddles everywhere.
Okay.
All right, so now I'm gonna work on this back side a little bit. Underside. I'm not sure how much more water I need. This one was a little dry, but it'll press into, put a little bit more. It'll press into what was wet underneath it. And we'll kind of work in from the edges just to ensure that it stays tight against the edge. Because if not, then you risk getting a little kind of felted seam on the edge. So flash forward, what's going to happen is you're going to end up with a felted disc with a piece of plastic in it, basically. And then we're going to cut a little hole and pull that plastic out. And then we're going to work on the sides. And on the snowman, we're really going to work on the sides and come at it from a bunch of different directions because we want it to get really round. On the pumpkin, we don't mind so much if it has a little bit of that ellipse, shape to it. And then you'll feel it under your hands start to feel less kind of mushy when you touch it and start to feel a little more kind of solid and firm. And how much you do with your hands, or some people use a sander, so then you can start rolling. All of that is a little bit just up to the person and by feel and preference. There's no like formula of, you do this and then you do this. I know when Erin was here, we did a lot with our hands when we did the bugs. So I'm going to do this for another few minutes. Okay.
So you worked it.
I worked it a bit. I'm going to roll it a bit.
We'll clean that up.
I know. I usually have like a little piece of plastic or something. I'm going to put this as a rug mat. And that just gives it like another little nubby texture. You don't have to have it, but. And since I have so much in here, I'm going to use the pool noodle. If I just had a piece of bubble wrap, I might just take this, give myself a little roll of it, and then roll the bubble wrap and have that be what I'm rolling around. But since I have the pool noodle and I have this whole setup, oh, thank you. So I'm going to roll the pool noodle into the whole thing. And then I'm just using my towel as my holder together. And then I'm going to do this
A bunch of times.
I'm going to do this. Like I said, there's nothing set. I'm probably going to do it like 40 to 50 times from two directions and then see where I am.
General rule of thumb is 50 in all four directions.
Yeah,
in
if you're
theory.
doing like a heavier,
Okay.
and then I think because of working with resist, you do so much with your hands to start, it might not need that much. But I'm generally, I fall towards underfelting. So I try to be patient and do more when it needs it. I feel like it should magically come together because I will it to, rather than putting the time and muscle into it. But there have been times in classes and like when Kyle and I have done stuff that we were like, it's not, it's not really come together, and then you just keep going and it does. Yeah.
Those turtle legs, I was concerned about the turtle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I overnapped.
Okay. So what I mean by the other direction is I rolled, you can see how they're curled up this way. So I want to roll them from this end or the other so that they get rolled up the other way. I could flip them over too, just to give them something a little different here.
Another thing that people sometimes do is wrap the towel, by people, guilty of it, wrapping the towel in it all and then sucking out all the water.
Don't wrap the towel in it. Wrap your bubble
Like
wrap.
now, wrapping the towel is
Right.
not what you want to do.
Right. Wrap the whole little blue package.
Yeah.
And then put the towel around it. It still will, some water still will come out.
Oh, but if you wrap that towel in it, it sucks up all the
Yeah,
water.
yeah, it dries
And
down.
then you have a sopping wet towel that you're leaning on.
We can cut out some of this.
I just is squeaking.
All right. So I rolled it each way, and it's grabbed enough that now I want to take the resist out and then keep felting. So on the Snowman, I've done different things. I've done it from the bottom, and I've done it from the top. On the biggest piece, I'm going to do it from the top because I want this biggest piece, when I build a snowman, to have some rice in it. Just as a kind of a weight. And so I don't want there to be a hole in the bottom. But then the head, you probably want to do from the bottom because you don't
Yeah.
want there to be a hole. The middle one, maybe it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter so much. All you want to cut is a little, and that was about an inch. And then just see, because this is going to open up. So you don't want to make a great big hole because it's going to become a really big hole. And then I reach in and try to find the edge of the resist. And then pull it out. So I'm going to do that to all the pieces.
So you got the thingies
I
out.
cut all the resists out. And on the Snowman pieces, I want to really come at this side edge, that where the edge of the resist was. Because what I want to make is a circle. And so I want to felt this edge a lot.
Yeah.
And another thing you can do is take it, and you know those punch balloons that you used to get? Where you held the thing and then it was like punch, 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 punch.
Yep.
And they came sort of folded up like this. So you can, so the opening's here. So it's almost, I'm felting now the opposite of the way the resist was. And so that'll help get the right shape as well. And I've got a good bit of soap on here. Oh, shoot, do we have rice?
We've been using a lot of rice and a lot of things.
We're gonna be raiding some Stabbits. So this is what I want to do to all of these. And that's going to get rid of that edge. See, it looks like a little beret. Looks like a little, like the Fiber Fairy would wear this as a beret.
Yes.
But then after you do it, that's gone. And it looks more like a squid. Or something.
Stages of a wet felted pumpkin.
Yeah.
The squid stage. It's nice and sparkly.
Mm-hmm. It seems like it's not sticking in a few places, but I'm going to ignore it because I'm an optimist. And
It's gonna stick.
that's going to stick. So now I'm doing the balloon thing, like a hot air balloon. And I'm going to do this to all of them. Even the pumpkin. Okay.
All right.
So you can see how I worked these a little rounder than this one, just by how they're sitting here. But I have a handy dandy antique rice bag filler.
Yes.
If you don't, you're going to want a funnel. And you're going to fill these and just keep, you got to kind of keep pushing the rice down in there because it takes a lot.
It takes a surprising amount.
Yeah, it does.
Like you think you're done and you're maybe halfway there.
And then you push it around and you're like, oh, I can fit way, way more. And especially with these, with the snowballs, we want them tight because we want it to make this nice round circle. And it totally does. It's amazing. These looked like these before rice and drying. So it really does take the shape. Of course, I picked the biggest one to do with Ding Dong. Just call me Ding Dong today. And the pumpkin, you can leave a little bit more space in because you want to have that room to get the ridges too. But this we want like so full.
So you think you're done and nope.
Yeah. Will you please get a bigger needle? Embroidery thread would be great because they can really see it. Alright, that should be about good.
Embroidery thread, you say?
I do. There's some in the basket left over from a fiber fairy down there.
Like not right here.
Oh, it could be.
Is that too big?
That'll work. Alright, I am definitely going to need more. Do we have another sacrificial stab it?
Yep.
See how prepared we are today?
We could only fill it once. Can hear all the rice ruckus.
Rice ruckus. Okay, so I'm going to get a nice piece of embroidery thread. You could use regular thread. I just wanted you guys to be able to see what I was doing here. And then I'm going to make great big, kind of like 1-inch stitches around here. This is basically going to make a drawstring. So exciting. I love making these. I can also talk about how to finish this.
Yes. Go up a little bit. You're off the bottom of the.
Oh geez, I'm sorry. I just spent the whole time doing that off the bottom. Okay, and then you want a tiny bit of wool to shove in here. It's like a little wool plug. And then you pull your drawstring tight. And tie it off. You do this to all of them, obviously. And then you can kind of even like, you could iron it, you could beat on it a little bit, you could shape it. I would dry it on its side so that it doesn't get that, so it doesn't flatten back out. Dry it on its side and really holds, it really holds the circular shape that it is right now once it dries. I'm also going to need yarn. I guess we're going to do the same thing. Fill her up. I think this is the perfect amount of rice. Thank you. Okay. And I'm going to do my drawstring. Got any pumpkin jokes? You got any?
Well, you know, if I was prepared, the theme of the day is don't be prepared. I mean,
We should point out that we're not unprepared because we don't care.
No, we're busy.
We're unprepared because we're trying to do. Yes.
This is
12
one of
things
this
at the
is
same
one of
time.
many.
This is one of
We're not like sitting around.
many projects
Yeah.
happening here that we're excited to share with you. But it's a good one. It's a good one. So this can be shaped like so many different ways, and we're showing you two. But from this general, and your original resist can be different shapes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all the same technique. I tried to do stockings last year. They didn't work out so well, but that's okay. I tried something new. And would you grab me a piece of core wool? It's just going to work better than the... So like I said, I've done pumpkins before where I didn't make the sections with the yarn. I just let it kind of naturally pucker, and that's kind of fun. Alrighty, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Put my little...
That has some cute natural pucker going.
Yeah. But
I like how that turned out. Cool colors.
yeah, that's kind of neat.
Oh goodness! I zoomed really fast too.
Uh-oh.
Could you move like? Never mind. I'm on it.
Okay.
I just wanted to closer up so
Okay.
people could see the detail.
So I'm finding that, about 2 yards of yarn is a good amount for 8 sections, about this size, but so I find the center, and then I'm gonna do, we did this on the pumpkin tutorial. Probably could have got that a little bit more full. And I cross underneath, and I kind of crisscross like you're wrapping a package, and then come back to the top, and then crisscross and bisect 2 sections, and then crisscross and bisect 2 sections. I'm gonna need a finger. Kyla! Thank you. Alrighty, now this can dry just like that.
That's a cool one.
Yeah. Yeah, you can shape it a little bit. Awesome. The cool thing is you could totally reuse your rice too, which we do like over and over again. So I'm just gonna do these 2 little buggers. And then everything, like I said, is gonna end up looking like this.
Oh, it's like a magic cooking show.
And then what I did was in the bottom, I stuffed it mainly with core wool or fill if you have it. And then I put a little bit of rice in there. Otherwise it's like super light and it rolls over too easily. And then I filled this kind of part way, and then I put a 22 gauge wire through it. and then I filled it the rest of the way. And then tied it off kind of like I did this. And then I actually stitched these two pieces together.
Was the wire not wrapped before putting it through?
It was not. And then after it's on here, then you can wrap the arms. And there's just like, you can't hardly see it, but there's like a little bit of Serafina white and where the little cuts were for the wire to go through, just to seal everything up.
And a teeny tiny cut.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure is what you
I
need.
thought before this step, if you wanted to sew on a couple of buttons, it would be better to do it while it's
Now.
hollow. Yep, now.
So cute.
Then the head gets filled up, sealed up, and I just went around with a hook needle and stitched it on. And then this is all just needle felted, like we do our.
Yeah, that's what's so fun
Regular.
is you can needle felt all those details.
Yeah.
So you have
Yeah.
a teeny tiny bit of light pink on the cheeks.
Yep.
Is that fair?
Yep. I think I mixed fair and
Cheeky?
cheeky. And I made this on the toothpick. So, is there anything else? Is that it?
It might be.
Hello. Hi.
You
We
did
did
a
it.
great. You did a great job on
I don't know if I did or not, but I have another snowman to make. I have 2 more snowmen to make, so that'll be fun.
Yeah.
And I was looking at this, and the Angelina is a little loose, so I was thinking how the snow white bat would work well, I believe, to make these, because it's very white, and it already has the Aurora Angelina in it.
Yep.
What else did I want to add? No, I think that's about it. There's a lot of versatility to this, just a simple vessel. You can shape it once it's finished. Once you take that resist out, there's a lot of shaping you can do. You can cut the opening in different ways if you were going to make something that was going to stay open. So it's a lot of fun. Basically with this, I wanted to show these 2 projects and that technique of using a resist, which I don't think we did in the flower tutorial.
No.
No. So that's what this was about. In case I didn't say that at the beginning. Enjoy. Thank you.